I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. This guy, Eric Adams, who, as you may have heard, I put him on the list of people who have homosexual pastors. His pastor is a fellow by the name of Bishop Whitehead, who only has like 15 members in this church. Now, I'm not against people who got small churches. God forbid. Go, man, this is what God gave you. Be proud and thank God for that. But this guy drives around in a Rolls Royce with 15 members. And Bishop Whitehead, who is Eric Adams' bishop, who's been arrested on extortion, bribe, wire fraud, and a bunch of other things, which I think has brought down a whole lot of problem on Eric Adams because of the bishop got arrested and started spilling the beans. Anyway, Mr. Roll that clip.
The U.S. Justice Department is suing Texas over its strict new immigration law. Joining us now to discuss this and more, the New York City Mayor, Eric Adams. Mayor, thanks very much for joining us. I want to get your reaction to this new suit against Texas over its very controversial new immigration law. What's your reaction?
Extremely pleased that that D.C. is taking this action. The White House is taking this action. It's so important to send a very clear and loud message to the governor of Texas, who is just really aggressively attempting to destabilize cities. And I think this action is extremely appropriate. But it's also crucial, and I need to say this, that this is a national problem, and all of these cities need help from the national government, a decompression strategy, funding, making sure we allow people to work and pursue the American dream. And so kudos to this important lawsuit that they put in place, but we still need the national government to solve this national problem.
As you know, Mayor, Texas is now changing its strategy, dropping migrants off in New Jersey, not far from New York City, in order to evade new restrictions you imposed on busing coming into New York. Have you been outsmarted by the Texas governor, Greg Abbott?
No, anyone who has a diabolical mind would do diabolical things to just treat people in an inhumane way. We handle over 164,000 migrants and asylum seekers, and we're doing it in a humane way. We're very clear that we're going to continue to adjust as the governor of Texas carry out these actions to make sure that we send a very clear, loud message. No bus company should be participating.
You know, I'm not necessarily a fan of Governor Abbott down there in Texas, or Ron DeSantis in Florida. I think DeSantis on the plane to Martha's Vineyard. I thought that was really cool. That was my coolest move, one of the coolest moves that Ron DeSantis has done. I thought that was really upscale. Send them up to Martha's Vineyard. That's right. Send all these migrants coming across the land, flooding our borders. But you know, I think the thing that these liberals fail to realize, because most of these cities where these migrants come into, especially Texas, which gets the brunt of it, occasionally Arizona, where the migrants, by the tens of thousands, by the hundreds of thousands, are flooding those cities, making life very difficult for people who want to live. So, why don't somebody come up with a plan? Greg Abbott or Ron DeSantis, somebody come up with a plan and say, well, listen, all right, the Biden administration is not doing anything. They won't build a wall. They won't stop they won't, reinstate Title 42, where you can send them right back to wherever they came from. And by the way, I'm not anti-immigrant. I feed hundreds of immigrants every day here at this church. You see the people in our breakfast program? 90% of them are immigrants, so I feed them. So I'm not anti-immigrant. Let's get straight about that. But there should be a equal sharing. Cities like New York, Boston, Baltimore, Washington, Chicago, they ought to share. To everybody, 50,000, 50 or 500 or whatever will go to this city this week, next week. And by the way, America needs a workforce, and this is not racist; it's just truth. You know, most black men are in prison, and not that they're the only ones who do manual labor, mind you. That's what I'm not saying. I'm just trying to keep it real. You know, a lot of black men are in prison, are getting shot down in the street every day in Chicago, here in New York, every place else. They're pretty much unemployable because they have very little discipline, very little understanding. You can't employ them. You can't get them. So the migrants come across, they walk 1,000 miles through rape and robbery and rain and terrain, and they're willing to work at any job you give them. And America needs workers. They do. So, I am not saying open the borders. That's not what I'm saying. And Trump said these migrants are poisoning the blood of our nation. Well, I don't believe that. America is a nation of immigrants. Everybody here came from somewhere. So, and we have the opportunity. So I'm not anti, but I think that, but you say, well, doggone Pastor Man, if you do that, they're going to all come from, there was stuff down in Venezuela, down in South America right now that's just coming from, from North America, down in Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, and that region. But the way you talk, Pastor Man, they'll be coming from everywhere and won't be any room for anybody else in America. Well, I don't know if that's true. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to show you this Eric Adams boy, this boy wears an earring. Mr. Engineer, could you drop me and pull him up full screen so we can see that on his left ear he's got an earring. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, he got an earring on. What's that? What's up with that? I mean, what's the mayor of the city of New York wears an earring? What's that? So a lot of, listen, I used to be a fan of, this is old, I'm old school, right? I used to be a fan of Michael Jordan until I saw with the earring. I got rid of him. I say, they talking about Michael Jordan no more. Hey, what the heck? Well, what's, you say, well, men wore earrings years ago. They did. No, they did. No, it's true. They did wear earrings years ago. But the way I read earrings in the book of Deuteronomy, that if a man wanted to remain a slave and didn't want to go home free from his slave master, the master would put a hole in his ear and put an earring in there, and meaning that he's a slave forever. So I don't know. So we can't. All right, let's listen to the rest of this message because we can't see it. But I saw it. I had a big screen television where I saw it. Right? See, we don't have that here now. Maybe you see it. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all see it. Eric Adams with an earring. And was he trying to be cute or something? You know what I think? Go ahead, Ms. Engineer.
And this action, and we're going to communicate with our partners in this region and make sure that we tell them they should file the same level of executive order to stop this from taking place.
I know you've called the Texas Governor Greg Abbott a bully for his handling of these migrants who crossed the border from Mexico into Texas. A spokesperson for the governor, accuses you of hypocrisy, saying you too have bused migrants north away from New York City. How do you respond?
Well, it's totally inaccurate. We're fixing the problem that he created. There are many people who came to New York City who wanted to go to other municipalities, and they didn't have any other choice. Governor Abbott made it clear he was going to target cities like Chicago, Denver, New York, and just on the inauguration day of the Philadelphia.
Hold it. The engineer found a picture of this, there he is. Earring was a diamond. Eric Adams looks like the Cro-Magnon man. Look at it. Y'all remember the Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal man. Listen, T.D. Jakes looks like the Neanderthal man. Y'all know him? It's all gone. This boy looks like the Remember Cro-Magnon man from your 8th grade history studies? Got an earring in his ear. What's up with that? I mean, the mayor of the city of New York strutting the earring. Look at him, looking like the Cro-Magnon man. He needs to shave his head, too, because see all that hair growing back on his head? And I'm not against people if you shave your head, you shave your head. That's what you do. But at least shave it. He must have got up this morning and forgot to shave it. Anyway, go ahead, Ms. Engineer. You got one question I want Wolf Bliss to answer, and I'm through with this guy. I've had enough of him already.
Philadelphia mayor, he sent a plane load there. So he's targeting cities. And that's a big difference from asking people what are their destinations and reticketing them where they can go, where they have families, friends, or other systems to support them. That is what we're doing, and we will continue to do so.
What more do you need from the White House, Mayor? How critical is it, for example, that the stalled bill in Congress right now that includes $14 billion for border security gets funded because this is not cheap for New York City?
No, it's not. And it's not cheap for all the cities. And I want to be clear, as a mayor of one of the largest city in America, I'm not speaking only on behalf of my citizens here. I'm speaking on behalf of those cities such as Brownsville, El Paso, Chicago, Boston. No mayor should have to deal with the crisis of this magnitude. Last week, we had 3,000 migrants and asylum seekers who arrived here. There's some weeks we get anywhere from 3,900 to 4,000. Just do the math. Handling those level of migrants and asylum seekers is just not sustainable. And we know we need those dollars to come in. $5 billion budget deficit this fiscal year, $12 billion over 3 years. It's going to hurt low-income New Yorkers, and this is wrong for those New Yorkers as well as migrants and asylum seekers should not be placed in this condition.
Before I let you go, Mayor, a very quick question on a very different subject. I want to ask you about this federal investigation, as you know, into your political campaign. The FBI seized your cell phones and iPad in November as part of a probe looking into illegal contributions to your campaign. Have you received a target letter from federal investigators?
We made that clear before. No, we have not. Listen, our federal agencies, our state agencies, our city agency. I'm a former law enforcement officer. If inquiries are made, we must cooperate with those inquiries, and that's what I have done and stated I would do over and over again. I do not break laws. I did not spend 22 years enforcing a law to break a law. And whatever information and cooperation they need from me, I'm going to do that. And I'm fully transparent and making sure we can get to the bottom of any accusation that is made.
The New York City Mayor, Eric Adams, thank you so much for joining us.
We're going to find out sooner or later exactly what's going on with Eric Adams and why the FBI just don't roll up on you in the middle of New York City and take your cell phone and your iPad if there's nothing there. They don't do that.